Okay. Am I live? Oh, all right. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's talk, which was supposed to be yesterday, but decided to move it on to tonight, just for unforeseen circumstances. So anyway, welcome, Gina. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll have a few more people on soon, but even if they don't join, I'm going to post this video up on the live feed so that others can see it later. So my name is Thomas Browne. I am the creator of the group and also the owner of the Manifestation Coaches. Hello, Hannah. Thank you for also joining us. Great. More the merrier. So I decided to create different videos on different weeks. So every week, every Thursday, I'll have a different video on a different subject, either around manifestation or around narcissistic abuse. And that's to educate pretty much everyone who has an interest in it on the various different areas that they can learn how to kind of set boundaries for themselves, to learn how to come out of an abusive relationship. Or it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, it could be relationships with family, relationship with friends, with colleagues, etc. And to manifest a life that they truly desire and truly deserve beyond that, because I believe that people shouldn't have to endure such bullshit from people, and actually narcissism is way more common than what you might expect. It's way more common. It's one of those things that isn't discussed enough in society, and it can really affect our manifestations if we don't get on top of it. So I thought I'd really niche out and kind of get on top of the matter and say, hey, narcissism is a thing, it's way more common, and it can stop us from having the life that we really want if we allow it to, if we don't know how to move beyond it. But if we do know how to move beyond it, if we have all the tools that are there that are necessary for our own personal development, our own spiritual development, we can actually create the life that we truly want and truly deserve. So that's what I kind of want to bring to the table and want to show people how they can do that, how they can get to where they want to go when they see the bigger picture. They see it as a whole and say, oh wait a second, this is really affecting me more than it should. How do I move beyond it? How do I get that life? And you can, you absolutely can. So today's subject is on narcissistic mirroring. And actually, before I go into it, I want to say as well my own experience, right? Why did I decide to take on narcissism? So for me, right, it started off, let's say, the manifestation coaches. Just on its own, I was thinking, what a great subject. I can, teach people, or I can show people, I can coach people how to manifest their dream life, right? And while I was doing that, I noticed it wasn't quite working out for me. My own manifestations weren't quite working out, and I couldn't really figure out why. Couldn't really get to the bottom of why can I not manifest, even though I'm trying to show people this. And it's okay. I would say it's okay that for me, that was a whole learning experience. The fact that something wasn't working, I'm trying to find a solution of how to get it to work. So you go through all the problems of what's causing this not to work. I understand the spiritual aspect. I understand the mindset aspect. What's missing? What's missing from this that it's not working for me? And it's perfect that it didn't work, because the fact that it didn't work made me figure out how or what was causing it not to work. Really. Absolutely. And I absolutely figured it out why. And it's the many, and I'm not saying let's say, oh, let's blame other people. It's not just that. It's how we set our mindset, our thought processes, our feelings. That's a whole another section. But really, the people in our life who influence us, who influence our feelings, who influence our emotions, really feeds into that. Like, there's one thing being on our own and not feeling good, right? There's another thing being around other people and them causing us not to feel good. No matter what we do, no matter what we try. Maybe it's not right. Or maybe they're, let's say, manipulating us, gaslighting us, bullying us, calling us names, talking down to us, How do you think that will make someone feel if they're getting that non-stop all the time by various different people? It doesn't just have to be in a relationship setting. It can be friendships, as I said. So for me, right, I experienced narcissistic abuse since childhood. Now, at the time, I didn't know it was that. I absolutely did not. One of my parents was a heavy narcissist. Didn't know at the time. Didn't know for years, to be quite honest. Kind of put up with it because I would class myself as an empath. I don't like using that term because I don't like labels in general. But I'm generally very kind to people, and I was always taught by another parent that no matter what someone does, they are who they are, and you should forgive them and just accept them, which includes not having boundaries and being almost too forgiving. Right, so I grew up with a narcissistic parent, one narcissistic sibling. That narcissistic sibling's partner who's also narcissistic, and a nephew who's narcissistic, two relationships, and I would say two or three friendships. And it took going through all of that. I did not realize who these people were until years later, and now I've gotten through it, gotten through the worst of it, where I had to stand up for myself near the end, near the end of actually realizing, getting closer to realizing. And it's when the people really turn on you. And when you actually stand up for yourself, for me anyway, when I stood up for myself, that I realized what I was kind of dealing with. So I had noticed it, I guess, before the manifestation coaches, before I set that up. I noticed it, still didn't know what it was, couldn't put my finger on it, didn't know it was narcissism until, yeah, I guess it was a certain relationship, don't want to go into too much detail about it, that really opened my eyes to it, where it was pretty much an extreme for me. And that made me put my finger on it and actually really want to know more and want to study it, because then when I noticed it there and I could really put my finger on it, then I noticed it in all the other relationships that I had, where it was present, and I could really go, oh my god, that was it, 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 that was it. And it really expanded out my mind, and like, for me to go, oh my god, like, light bulb moment. Like, there are different types of narcissism as well, so like, I wouldn't say for all of my relationships with family, colleagues, friends, family, relationships, I wouldn't say that they were all the same type of narcissist. They weren't. They were all, some were the same, some were different, and that's where it kind of throws you off. Some show their kind of true colors at a later time, some very early. And when you know what to look out for, when you know the red flags for it, oh my god, like, it could have saved me so much time. And I would say when I did eventually realize it through all of them, I know what to look out for now, and I know how to have a better mindset, a happier mindset, how to regulate my own emotions outside of that is so much easier. It's so much easier. And how to bring in my own manifestations, it comes at a much faster rate because now I'm the only one that controls how I'm feeling. I don't allow other people to control that for me. So once I'm the only one to regulate it, then I'm in charge of my manifestations. Absolutely no one else is, just me. So I can show you how to do that too. Anyway, let's go into what exactly mirroring is, and let me see who else there. So it's Hannah, Gina, and I think there's one more viewer and I can't see who it is. Don't be afraid to jump in, make a comment, ask a question, by the way, if you have any. So mirroring, I would say that narcissists are experts when it comes to mirroring. What is mirroring? It's something that we actually do all of the time. You and I and everyone else. We just do it at a different level, I would say. Hi, Burr. That's my sister. Came to join us. So we do it at a different level, right? So let's say I am doing, let's say, a coaching call with someone, right? I might, to make that person more comfortable, just automatically, not even purposefully, I might talk to that person the way that they talk to me. So if they have, let's say, a very excited voice and they're kind of very like literal with their hands, they use a lot of expressions with their hands, I might do the same, just automatically. I'm not even thinking about it. I might speak faster, I might use my hands, and that makes them feel more comfortable, right? Like I said, I'm not conscious of it, it just happens. Likewise, if I'm out with friends and one of my friends talks quite calmly, talks slowly, is very kind of composed with how they use their words, I would probably do the same, just automatically. It's just you're matching what that person is doing. You're mirroring them, and it makes them feel more comfortable, more at ease with themselves and with you. It's like, oh, this person gets me. I didn't know what mirroring was for a long time until I became a coach. That's when I figured what mirroring is. With narcissists, they use mirroring, right, but in a more extreme way. It's used as a type of love bombing. It's definitely used in the love bombing phase. And what they'll do is, so they'll mimic you to an extreme, right? They'll basically create this version of themselves which appeals to you so much that it's like you're seeing yourself in this person. So they create the perfect person for you. It's like they show off themselves as being your soulmate, right? Being your divine partner, being your everything. The only person that has ever been like that for you, and that's why it's so amazing. They're masters at manipulation, and the whole point of it is to emulate you, to mimic you. They'll share your interests. They'll point out your strengths at the very early days. They'll be everything that you want in someone, and they'll just reflect you back to them, right? What you are is just, reflected back to them through them. And it's used to manipulate and to control you, but also the main point of mirroring is data gathering. So if they can mirror you very well to the point where you're absolutely falling in love with this person, that they're your soulmate, they're your everything, then you'll be easier to give out information about yourself, right? Your vulnerabilities. And while you're giving out those vulnerabilities about yourself, that's what they want. That's the whole point of love bombing. That's the whole point of mirroring, is just to make you feel so comfortable, so at ease with them, that you'll give out all the information about yourself that they can eventually use against you. And it's the most horrible thing in the world when you realize it, you know. And the only time that I realized it was when it was too late. Um, but I would say that for future relationships, I'd definitely be more cautious of it. Definitely the love bombing phase. It's like I used to think that because I'm the kind of person that wears my heart in my sleeve. Um, it might be less like that kind of going forward, but when someone is essentially so open and so sharing and so kind of easy to talk to, that they'd give you, in the beginning, especially in the beginning, the shirt off their back, right, to make you feel comfortable. Who does that in the very beginning, right? Maybe later on, when a relationship grows, when it grows in intensity, when you get to know each other a bit better. But in the very beginning, if someone's going to give you the shirt off their back to make you feel comfortable, or shower you with gifts to make you feel comfortable, what are they getting in return, right? And I guess that's the point. What they're getting in return is your vulnerabilities that they will use against you, which essentially feeds them, that makes them feel better, that makes them be able to bully you, to manipulate you, to control you. And yeah, what a horrible thing to do to someone. But that's what gets used, it gets weaponized. Your vulnerabilities get weaponized against you. So, an example of weaponizing vulnerability. So, let's say you tell the narcissist something very personal, right? So, I'll use just a made up example. Is so, for instance, if you tell the narcissist that someone used to bully you, right, as a child. Let's say someone in school used to bully you a lot over, I don't know, your hairstyle or wearing glasses or something like that. And you express to them how you felt around that and how that made you feel and that you used to cry all the time, right? Expect that the narcissist will use that later on against you by saying, "Oh, I understand now why that person used to bully you. I understand because you probably deserved it," using whatever reason that they used. And the fact that you express something so personal to them only to be used against you is a horrible thing for anyone to do. And mirroring really brings out that part of themselves that, sorry, mirroring can, show you a person that doesn't exist. And that's the hardest thing to kind of get for me to get my head around, is that they create a character that doesn't actually exist, right? And I've noticed with, let's say, with one friend, for example, that they went through a phase of not knowing what their identity was because they're so used to taking on all of these other identities of what other people expect to see rather than what's truthful. And that's another thing. It's like they create this image of like what we expect to see. That doesn't happen in real relationships. It's like rather than getting what you expect to see, you should be getting what is really there and not what is fictitiously created. And I can imagine why someone would, let's say, not know who they are when they're constantly taking on different characters all the time. It's like someone who is an actor, right? If they're constantly playing roles of different characters in different movies and different TV series, if that's constant and they don't have time to actually be themselves, or if they don't give themselves time to be themselves, who are they but the characters that they portray? You know. And another thing that comes from that, so let's say, yeah, one thing I noticed actually was that when you're in a relationship with someone like that, and they meet different people. um, oh, sorry to hear that. You just figured this out today. So yeah, no, it can be a tough one. It can be a tough one. But yeah, what I noticed is when you're in a relationship with someone like that, what I couldn't stand was when they meet someone on the outside and then the character comes on for that person. You might just be sitting there, right, or just be in their area. They might turn around, turn on the character to that person of what that person expects they are, and then when they come back to you, the character turns off. It's the most uncomfortable thing in the world. The character turns off and they go back to being exactly who they really are. You know, being the bully, being the manipulator, being the person that calls you names and treats you like shit. You know, and that's really unsettling. That the fact that someone can turn that on and off very quickly is extremely unsettling. Like, I can't turn on a character just for somebody else. Like, if someone comes in and I'm not feeling so good, if I'm feeling emotional, like, that's what they're gonna see. They're not gonna see another version of myself, um, portraying, a different state of being rather than who I am. And then another thing I noticed as well was because they take on identities, right, of or different characters. Like I said with the actors, if they're constantly playing different actors, if you're not in the scene anymore, so let's say you decide to leave, take note if you, let's say, are still aware of the person, or if they're on social media or whatever, take note of how much you are being mimicked by that person, even after you're gone. How much they actually try to copy, because they're copycats. They copy every other person that comes into their life. That's what you're seeing. Is first of all you being mirrored, but maybe other people being copied as well to other people. Like, that's how they're portraying it. But yeah, like, notice how to other people through social media or whatnot. Um, I think it's weird. To be quite honest, it's almost kind of creepy. But that happens as well. That happens. So yeah, professional actors. That's what I would call them. So okay, so does anyone have? Okay, I was with a narcissist for 3.5 years, and I honestly don't know how to. What's that? Unlearn everything. Well, okay, so if you're with someone for so long, um, yeah, like, it can be difficult to, let's say, go back to the person you were before, but it's not impossible. We can talk about that if you want to set up a private meeting with me. I'd probably be able to explain that a lot better, especially there's only about 5 or 6 minutes left. And to get to know your situation directly. So if there's anyone that, if you want to ask some general questions and I can answer them as best I can, or if you want to talk about your own situation privately, we can also do that. That's not a problem. So I'm taking any questions you might have right now. Storm Eunice, yeah, Storm Eunice has been a bit of a situation for many places. I seen, is it the Wembley Stadium or where the London Eye is in London, with the roof torn off. I don't know that stadium. What's that calling off? Is Wembley or what? Millennium Stadium. Maybe that's it. But yeah, it's been pretty wild. So, taking questions if anyone has any around mirroring. Okay, so what I'll talk about next is in relation. I'm starting to get to mix up my words now. It's difficult when you're just talking by yourself, rather than actually having a conversation with someone. I find it a lot easier, so I might do a Zoom call next time or over the coming weeks. So what I would say that about another thing about mirroring is that it can be seen as very flattering, but overly flattering. Okay, yeah. I'll send you a DM afterwards, Barbara, and we'll set up a private chat. I think that would be cool. It can be seen as very flattering, but to watch out for that flattery, because it's actually data gathering, trying to gather as much information from you about you as possible to be used against you and to be weaponized. That's one thing about narcissism, is weaponizing the information that you give them. And I think it's one of the most horrible things in the world to have your vulnerabilities used against you and weaponized. And it can be, especially in the initial stages, it can be very, very difficult to fight against, because the automatic response to that is to react, right? And that's exactly what they want, is that reaction. That's what feeds a narcissist. They love that. They thrive on reactions. Constantly trying to get a reaction from you. And the bigger the reaction, the better, and yeah, that's a strange state of being to be in. And I'll never really fully understand the narcissistic brain, to be quite honest. Like, I've studied it, I understand it, but I'll never fully understand their way of thinking, and what actually drives them to be like that. Aside from, their own unhappiness with themselves, like that's the thing. Their own insecurities. That all gets projected out. Yeah, so it can be can be very kind of, especially when the mirror turns dark. So you're not, sorry, Sarah says, I'm not sure he knows. So are you not sure that he knows that he's a narcissist? Because if he is a narcissist, he would never agree with it, that he's a narcissist. They're mostly in denial about it. They can't admit to anything, pathological liars and all the rest, but they can't actually admit to taking any sort of blame, for the most part. No, and can't say sorry, can't apologize, which, yeah, is very unsettling. I find it very strange that people can't apologize, can't simply say sorry, can't take accountability. That's another one. And it kind of reminds me of being in school, being surrounded by like kids that just can't take any sort of responsibility because they're not old enough to. When you see adults doing that for their entire lives and constantly blame shifting, it's strange. It is really strange, but it's so common. And that's why society is the way it is at the moment, is because of so many people that actually cannot take accountability, can't take blame. But that's a very general statement. And I'll probably go into more detail again next time. So this video is going to finish in a few minutes. Yeah, we'll hear for those of you that want to talk about your own story, right? Totally give me a DM or I'll DM you. If you show an interest here, I'll DM you and we can set up a private Zoom and we can talk about that. If it's something where you're actually comfortable enough to talk in a group, we can do that as well. Just I guess let me know in advance. And yeah, we can set that up. We can definitely discuss that. Okay, so I'm going to end it in a minute, but I just want to tell you exactly what I have, what I do as well. So as I said in the beginning, I am a manifestation coach, right? I have a course and I have a website. If you guys want to learn to manifest the life that you truly deserve beyond narcissistic abuse, I keep on coughing, I don't know why. Check out the manifestationcoaches.com, right? There you'll have all the information about who I am, what I do, and how I can help you to manifest the life you truly deserve. Also, I have a course called the Abundant Mindset that you can check out as well. It's an amazing course. It's either 21 days or 21 weeks depending on your schedule, how fast you want to manifest in, how fast you want to learn the tools, etc. So what I also offer with that, which probably not many other coaches offer, right, is that if you're interested in doing the abundant mindset, for each person that you refer that signs up, once you sign up for the course, you also get an affiliate percentage of, like, I think it's 20% now. So check out the website, all the information is there. It's an amazing course and it will really help you manifest the life that you truly desire and deserve. So yeah. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. For those of you who are interested, I will send you a DM and we'll get talking. For the rest of you, thank you for joining me. Yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Not sure if I was clear all the time, but yeah, awesome. And I will see you guys again next week for a Thursday talk instead of a Friday one. I guarantee I won't miss out next Thursday. So thank you for joining me and take care. Bye bye. Good night. Enjoy your weekend. See ya.